So getting started on your entry table, we're going to begin with legs. Okay, real simple. Here's your example of what you're trying to accomplish here in this first portion. We're going to start with 1. After 1 is drawn with the embellishments, then we'll just copy it. Okay, so don't worry about drawing it 4 different times. We're going to draw it once and then copy it. Tool-wise, you're going to use your rectangle tool, you're going to use your pencil tool, push-pull tool, and move tool. Okay, along with the tape measure. So let's get started here. 1 5/8 inches by 1 5/8 inches. That measurement is based off of your drawings, which are provided. Okay, so I'm going to go to my rectangle tool. Doesn't matter where on my screen. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling that out, and I'm going to go 1 5/8 inches, comma, and then I'm going to punch that in again, 1 5/8 inches. And there's that leg right there. Okay, at least the start of it. I'm going to go right to my push-pull tool. Okay, I didn't click off anything. I'm going to go right to that guy. I'm going to get it started in the direction that I want. And they are going to be 32 5/8 to start. Okay, so 32 5/8, enter. And I have now made that leg. H on your desktop is the hand tool. And that'll allow me to kind of pan rather than use the orbit tool. Okay. So there is that leg. Here's what I'm going to do. I got to make this a component. Very important part. Pay attention. This will save you a lot of aggravation. After that leg is drawn, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my selection tool and I am going to click, hold, and drag. And notice I have all sides of this object selected. That's really important. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go ahead and make component. I'm going to name this legs 2 because I already had my legs 1 drawn, so I got to rename it. Okay, you can name it legs and you'll be fine. Hit OK. Okay, you now have 1 leg drawn. Make sure that you name your project and then make sure you save it. You're going to need to look at your drawings. All right, very, very important. We're going to find these 2 locations. All right, if you look at your drawings, you're going to find from the bottom, disregard this tenon right now, we're going to make that last. So from the bottom of this leg, I need to come up on this face right here, 17 1/8. And that's where this mortise, the bottom of this mortise is going to be located. So that's what I'm going to start with. To do that, I'm going to take my tape measure. Tape measure is right here, or I can just hit T. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come onto this face right here, this inside face, because my tenon is going to go through, or my mortise is going to go through this way. It's going to go left to right, not front to back. So starting here, I'm going to grab somewhat in my midpoint. I'm going to pull that up, and notice I get that dotted line out across. That's what I want to see. All right, I got it started in the direction I want to pull my measurement. I just got to type it in, 17 1/8 of an inch. There it is, all right? Again, based on my drawings, that mortise needs to be 1 1/4 inches in length. So now I'm just going to measure from that location, and I'm going to punch in 1 1/4 inches because that is going to be the complete length, okay? So the mortise is going to run. That's going to be the bottom. That's going to be the top, okay? It's going to be right inside of there. There's 2 of them. So what I'm going to do, if you look at your drawings, it's 5 1/4 inches from this location. So I'm going to go ahead, get it started in the direction I want, 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to go right to my hand tool. There it is. So from that top of my mortise, 5 1/4 there. And like I stated before, it's 1 1/4 inches in length. And there it is. Pulled it right up for me. I'm going to drop it. Okay. So now I have the heights marked. I need to do my widths. All right. Everything mortise-wise, width is going to be 1/2 inch on your leg. So what I got to do is I got to go off of my center. So I'm going to pull my tape this way. Notice now my line is going vertical. It's because of the edge that I started. All right. And I want to start my center point, which is going to be right there. It'll lock to it. Okay. So now that I have my center, I might just orbit around here. All right, give you more of a straight on look, something like that. Go back to my tape measure, and I'm going to work off center for layout like we always do. It's a 1/2 inch. So off of my center, that would be 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to get it started in the direction I want. And look at that. It popped right up at 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to click it without even punching. All right. A couple ways I can do this. I can come this way. There it gives me the half. I can go off of my center and place another 1/4. Your goal is to get your mortise marked out that it is 1.25 inches long and 1/2 inch wide, and it's centered. Okay. Now, here's what we got to do. I need to select that leg. So I took my selection tool, click on it. I get those blue lines. I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit component. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right to my line tool or my pen tool here. And I'm going to click 4 dots in the corner of where this mortise is. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Now, without clicking off my tools, I'm going to go right to the next tool, which is my push-pull right here. And notice it selects that inside area, and that's what I want. All right. So I'm going to kind of zoom in here a little bit, and I'm going to start pushing this back. You can see I'm moving this, and it's extruding. And I got to get it to where it says on face right there. I'm holding my mouse down, and I need to find that location. And when I get that command on face, I'm going to release. And now I have a through tenon, or a through mortise, sorry. Okay, that my tenon will fit through. If I rotate this, there it is. And that's what we want to do in these 2 locations. I would repeat that same process down here, line tool, and that's what you'd get. All right, so go ahead now and draw your through mortises, and we'll pick up in your next little portion how to make the tenon. Okay, so now we're going to put our attention to this tenon here on the bottom. All right, if you notice, all my layout lines or my guides that I use for these through mortises have disappeared. To do that, and it's very helpful to get rid of that stuff and keep your desktop clean, just come under displays over here on the right-hand side, delete guides, select that, and they will disappear. All right. I'm going to get that back out of the way. And here's what we're going to put our attention to now. We got to make this little tenon down here. Okay. This tenon, it's 1 inch long. All right. And it's centered on the leg, and it is 1/2 inch thick. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come right to this leg here, and I got to extrude this down 1 inch. I got to make it 1 inch longer than what it is. So to do that, remember, because it's a component, I got to click on it, right click, and then I'm going to edit that component. Now I can make a change. And I'm going to take my push-pull tool, select that bottom, get it going in the direction that I want, and then I'm just going to type in 1 inch because that's the length that's needed. Okay? I'm going to go back to my hand tool and just kind of push that up a little bit. Go back to my orbit tool and just kind of reposition here. All right. So now I'm looking at the front. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay out my tenon. All right. The first thing I need to do is mark my height. I know it's 1 inch, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to take my tape measure. I'm going to come off the bottom here. I want to see that guide, and I'm going to place that at 1 inch. All right, so there's that line going across, and it just happens to intersect with that red axis. No problem. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, now I need to find my center point. So I'm going to take my tape measure. I'm going to click here, and it should be 1 1/8 inches. Right there. And I'm just going to verify that. I measure from here. That's 1 1/8 inches. I'll escape to get out of my tape measure, and I measure here, 1 1/8 inches. That is center. All right. It's 1/2 inch. So based on my center, I'm going to take that 1/2 inch, divide that in half, which would be 1/4. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure off of my center line, 1/4 of an inch this direction, get it started, type in the measurement that I want. Then I could go from my center line over another 1/4, or I can go from this point and come over my 1/2, and I'm going to do that and drop it right there. Okay. So now I have this baby laid out. All I got to do now is do my draw in my rectangle that I want here, and then use my push-pull tool to knock that out just like I did for my mortises. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make sure that it is edit component. And I'm going to take my line tool and we're going to click 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go right to my push pull. It highlights that. I'm going to go ahead and knock. I might have to rotate here. Sorry for that. Ooh. It's not cooperating. So if I just click off of that, right, if you have that happen, I might need to back out and then I might need to orbit just a little bit. Okay, now if I grab that, it makes all the world, just changing your view a little bit. So if it's not going the right way, don't panic. Click on it. It will stop it. Then you can adjust your view and go back to it. Okay, so I'm going to orbit around here. Let's try that again. I got to go ahead and create the rectangle that I want. There it is. Push pull. Push that out, and there is your tenon. Okay, your tenon is now completed. Pretty simple, pretty easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select off so I get out of my edit component mode. I'm going to go to display, and I'm going to delete those guides. Okay, and now I have one leg completed. All right, so in our drawing, we have 4 legs. I got 1 complete. This is going to be real simple. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select it, use my selection tool, click one time. There's my selection. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right down to my move tool, and I'm going to zoom in here for you. So I'm just using the spin wheel or the scroll wheel on the mouse. I'm going to come down to a corner. All right, notice it says I'm on endpoint, and it tells me the component leg 2. I'm going to hold the control key down. Okay, doing nothing with my mouse. I'm just going to hold the control key down, and notice I get that little plus sign. Now I'm going to click with my mouse one time, let go of the control key, and there I have a leg. I'm going to drop it on that red axis so they are in line. I'm not worried about the distance they are apart right now. We'll set them later. Okay, now go back to my selection tool. I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to select both legs. And I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to take my move tool. Doesn't matter which one I go to. I can go to either one. And I'm going to go to one of those endpoints. Control key. I'm not holding my mouse right now, just my control key. Now when I come to mouse, I click and hold, release the control key. I'm still holding with the mouse, and I'm going to go ahead and move them back. All right. Notice I'm on the green axis. Okay. They're square. They're parallel to one another, and that's what I want. Again, I'm not worried about how far they are apart. I can adjust that later. I'm going to drop them. I'm going to deselect so nothing will move. And I'm going to just kind of pan out a little bit. I'm going to take my orbit tool just to position this a little bit so you guys can see. All right. So there are the 4 legs. They have the mortises where my rails will go, and they have the tenons that will connect into my feet. The feet will be the next portion of this lesson.